Hey YouTube, it's Elvis Ammo here. Hey, today I'm gonna make some 300 blackout. Now I've had some requests. Now this has been on the radar for a little while. I'm a little bit ahead of myself as far as where I wanted to be, but I haven't even put my rifle together yet. I have parts on order to build this 300 blackout, and I'll let you in on that. And but for right now, I have plenty of work to do ahead of it, because whenever I get it, I'm gonna need to be able to shoot it. And I don't know if you've priced 300 blackout, but it's very expensive. I will not buy a 300 blackout, but I will, however, make my own. So that's what I'm doing. I got my 223 brass here, alright, and it's just regular old 223 brass. This happens to be the Wolf Gold, the brass. So these are the ones that you probably seen me decrimping, getting the crimps off of in one video. Anyway, so what I've done is I built a jig. The jig is very simple. I took two pieces of wood, put them together, and I'm not going to take this one off because I have it set where I want it. Put them together, drilled a hole with a bit that I found that was the same size as my brass. Drilled the hole, and then I took it apart, and then I used this as a channel on my chop saw. And then I used a blade that looks like this. It's just a panel blade, and I turned it backwards so that the teeth are going in the opposite direction instead of in the sharp direction, like that. I think it's turning this way. We always turn our blades backwards when we're cutting metal, and that's how we do it. So I use the same theory for this. It works. One thing I can say though is you want a sharp blade and you want a good blade, because what you don't want to do is you don't want brass that looks like this. See how it's all mangled up? You'll have to deburr it and chamfer it before you can form it, and you're already going to have to deburr and chamfer, you know, when you trim your brass after you make your 300 blackout. So you want a good blade. If you're getting these results, you're going to have to work twice as hard to do it. So what we're going to do is we're going to cut a few pieces of brass here. And after I built this channel here, you can put a nail here at the end. You can not use anything if you want. I'm sure that wood will hold up just fine as a backstop on it. But you know, I went the extra step and I put a backstop in there. I used one of these things here that you know, hold angled 45 cuts, like for picture frames or in cabinetry and stuff like that. And I just went ahead and just hammered that right down in as a backstop, so that when I slide my brass into the channel, it just backs up against that metal, and it's always going to be the same size. That's all. You can do it or not. I just chose to do it. So now I just slid my jig to where I can get. I kind of like to get these things at 1.370, something like that. Okay, so that's kind of the measurement you want. Some people would want to cut them shorter than that, but honestly, I like a little bit more leeway, and I'll show you why, and I'll show you how fast it is to trim your brass if you have the right stuff to do it with. So here we go. We're going to go ahead and cut this brass. And by the way, you can buy jigs on eBay, stuff like that. Squirrel Daddy makes them, you know, 15 bucks or so. So you can just buy a jig if you like. It's no big deal. I don't think they do anything special though compared to just making a jig, but that's up to you. So here we go. We're just going to cut a few of these, make a little bit of noise, and then we're going to move across the room and we're going to form these into 300 blackout, and I'll show you how I do that, and then trim the brass down. Here we go. So we just put that piece of brass right in there just like that, slide it up against the backstop. I got my panel blade. There we go, there's one. There's two. Three. Four. Just do a few of them here. So there we go. There's 6 of them. So now we'll walk across the room and we'll form these into some 300 blackout. Okay. Now we're over here on this side of the room, and what we're going to do is here's the cases, and you know, you'll see for yourself. There's all the cuts. All right. So you can see they're not, you know, exactly beautiful, but I'd like to get them better than that, these cuts, because it makes a big difference when they're really good. Okay, so anyway, this is working. This is acceptable for me. So now what we're going to do is, well, I'll show you. This is where I like to get them at 1.370 even. Now that one's 1.362. We'll just turn it and kind of 1.365. 1.365. 1.377. They're bird up. 1.376. 1.371. That's really where I want it. 1.371, somewhere in there. For me, that seems to be the magic number. I can trim that just fine. 76, 74, 77, 75. So you get the idea. But for me, the target is 1.370. Just because, man, I want plenty of room for me, and you'll see here in a minute that we can trim these real nice, and trimming off a little bit actually helps make the case turn out better. So here we go. I know what you're doing. You're looking and you're saying, whoa, wait a minute, hang on a second, what is that on your bench? I know, you're looking down here. We've got, that's a 300 blackout, baby. Huh? That right there. 223. That's a factory round. This is a powder coated round of molded lead, and this is the molded round that we've been shooting from the Lee mold. Okay, right there. And this one is the one that I just made. There's a little difference in it. Okay, what do you think of that? Alright, so this right here, butterfingers. This one right here That is the 230 grain out of a Lee mold. That is a missile, alright, compared to the 5.56. Alright, and here's one that I put together compared to the other one that I made. Look at that. Look at this missile right here. Oh my. Now they fit into the same magazine, you know, the same 5.56 P mag. I'm putting them in. Alright, so there's the 300 Blackout missile, yo. Alright, boy, those things are just huge. I mean, very impressive round. So there you go, baby. Here's the 300 Blackout missiles right there. Alright, they're beautiful. I mean, man, I'm telling you right now, I was impressed with the Lee mold. Alright, making these missiles, honestly. It's a very deep mold. I'm gonna have to, it's gonna probably deserve its own review, that mold, and I'll do a review on that mold because there's a little bit to talk about with it. Anyway, for right now, we're making these cases. Those are the missiles that we're gonna load. All right, now here's the cases that I finished with, 300 Blackout. All right, those are acceptable and finished, trimmed, and compared to the 223, see, they're just shorter. Cut them off, neck size them, mold them, make them. So there we go. So now that I got that out of the way, and you guys' jaws are not dropping because you've seen those missiles sitting there. Now we're going to make a case to put a missile into. Alright, so those here's those cases. See, they still need some deburring and all that, but they're not bad, so I'm able to form them just like that. So I just for the purpose of this video, I would normally lube a lot of these at one time, but I'm just going to do these few, just a little bit in the neck. Now this is sorry guys, I should have told you, this is just a Lee sizing and decapping die for the 300 AAC Blackout from the Lee. That's a Lee die. Alright, it's got the decapper in there and everything. So whenever you size these, you got to neck size them too. So there's no sense in, you know, sizing them without the decapper in, because then you can't neck size them. So there you go. And here we go. We just go right into it, right out of it, and that's it. Alright, and now it needs trimming. See, it still needs trimming. So we'll put the next one in. There you go. Just like that. See, we're going to put this one in next. Just this one we just cut off. I'm going to put a little bit of this lube on there. In there, on there. Put it in. Just like that. There you go. Yep. So it's pretty cool how this works. Just like that, you know. I'll just do one more here. Put it in, run it through the die, and that's it. Now these are going to need to be, I'm going to tumble them when I get done, clean them. Alright, so now what we're going to do is we got to trim these. I'll just do one more, just in case we get to the whole trim job and trim one wrong or something. That's it. I mean, you can cruise through it pretty good. It's now I may do it on another press, but for this video it's obviously going to be a little easier to do it right here. There we go. Alright, so now what you do is, this is a pretty important part. This is a very important part right here. This is a no-brainer what I'm doing right here. Okay, trimming them to size. You know, believe it or not, it took me some tries to get that. So I'm gonna show you. Okay, this right here is just a Lee trim die, and you have to get, you know, the trim die for the 300 blackout, and they're under 10 bucks. You just pop it in there. All right. And now I have this thing adjusted already, so we'll see if it's kept its adjustment. And that's important. Normally we don't really care, do we? When if you guys have ever used these, you don't adjust nothing. You just put that in there and you're done, right? Well, we need to be a little more precise. Now this right here is the it's the I can't remember if this one's called the deluxe, but it's the trimmer with the thing you can put in your drill. Okay, it's not this one. There's two different kinds. There's one that you can use by hand, and you put it in here and you can just spin it by hand, or there's this other one right here that you can put in the drill. This is really the one that you want, honestly. You don't want to play with all this spinning with your hand on this one, because you're going to be doing a lot of trimming here. So what I do is I just go ahead and put it right in my cordless, just like that. Alright, and I just set this thing right in. It's got a nice long shaft there, and the weight of the drill will hold it down just fine. So here we go. Now here's these cases we just done. We're going to go ahead and measure these. Now here's the part that you guys could learn something from. Now if you're using this system, they make all kind of different things you can get, you know, that are kind of expensive, but this system actually works really good. These dies are not normally to where you would adjust them, fine-tuning them. Okay, we just throw them in, and this is the fine-tune button on your die, on your adjustment, on your trimmer itself. But in this case, use what you got here, because I want to be able to trim this and hold the button down and just keep trimming all I want, and it's going to still drop to that same length that I'm looking for. Now, that's another thing. I could probably I'll probably really need to do another video on some of this information that's available, because it's pretty extensive. But I have one of these complete reloading manuals for the 300 blackout. They're inexpensive, alright, but I'm not going to get into this right now because there's a lot of information in there. I'm just throwing that out, that there is things that you can get so you can compare data. Now in the Lyman 50th, you know, the trim to length the trim to length is 1.358. The maximum length of the case is 1.368. All right, so we trim them to 1.358, or between 5.8 and 6.8. All right, and that's good enough. So here we go. Yeah, I was about to get into a whole nother conversation, and I'm not going to do that. All right, so I think I have this adjusted right, but I believe I turned it whenever I turned it out. So we'll just see where it's at. All right, so I'm just going to leave that in there, hold my handle down on my press. Now that's a lot of trimming right there, by the way. You normally would not do that, but I wanted to see if my adjustment was correct. And as you can see, that's a really pretty trim. That's what's good about this trimmer right here, is it does a real nice job of squaring that up. All right, so let's see what we got. 1.362. Now that is fine with me right there. That's where you want it. 5/8 the minimum, 6/8 the maximum. 6.2 is perfect. Gives you a little room for messing up. Now you see how I just trimmed that? I just held the button down. You can't screw this up. Now, and this is something that's different for me, because in the past I've never tried to fine tune my trim die. But in this case, when you're trimming this stuff, make your life easier. And so what I've done is just like you would normally do on any die, is you would just screw it down or out and set it to where it's exactly where it needs to be trimmed. So don't worry about all this fine tuning on these things, because it's not going to give you the accuracy that you're going to get yourself by turning the die in and out. And I thought that was kind of cool, a revelation. I just never done that before. So some of you guys probably laughing at me, and you're like, man, I know that. I've been doing that all the time. Anyway, that's a perfect case, and here we go. So we'll drop that in the perfect case jar, and we'll hit the next one. Now that one there was 6.2, was it? 6.4, 6.3, 62.5. That's pretty good, right? Boom, here we go. I mean, that's a perfect, I'm just holding this down. Normally to trim this, you would just bump that trigger, bump, that's it, you're done. But I'm just trying to prove a point that you can't trim it too much if you got this thing adjusted correctly. That's important. So there we go. Oh boy, maybe I need to hold it down for another second. It was 6.5 is where the lowest I've seen it. So there we go. That trimmed some more. .364. That's close enough for government work. And then the next one. I mean, that's pretty good. I mean, it really is. You know, trust me, whenever I started doing this project, I'm like 1.362. When I started doing this project, a lot of trial and error, and with those saw blades. Now, when you find yourself a good saw blade that's going to cut a good line, and you're not going to have the issues, because you can run into. See, I'll show you the difference. Now, this one isn't even real bad. This one right here, from a dull blade though. It's bad, but it's not too bad as I've seen them. And this is what it should look like when you cut it. All right, so there you go. Making, I think I have one more right here, didn't I? So don't trim them, don't cut them too short, because you won't have enough to trim off. You want plenty to trim off, because you need to get you need to get all that crud cut off of there. Trust me on this. It's going to be, you know, you're gonna have messed up necks if you don't. And this trimming system right here, I mean, literally, you're done. You know, hold the trigger down. So there you go. That's making cases, and you know, we made some nice cases. Here we go. I'm just gonna line them up here. You know, these are these pass. These are decent cases. 300 blackout. We're going to be putting these 230 grain missiles out of the Lee mold in there, buddy. I mean, that's pretty awesome. So there we go, YouTube. There's making the cases. I showed you my bullets that I made, and I showed you, you know, right here. You know, we have the difference between, you know, your 300 blackout cases and your 223, and here's your missile that's been seated, and the difference between the 5.56. There's that big bullet. What a bullet! And then there's the homebrew right there. Alrighty, YouTube. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope this was helpful to you guys. I will do. I am going to do a review on some of the data that I'm collecting, because it's going to be a pretty big subject. I say it's a big subject. It's just a lot to get into. Not a long video, but a lot to get into. YouTube, thank you very much. I'll see you in the next video. Elvis Ammo signing out.